Tonight on Film at 11, we're interviewing District Attorney Ricky Smith. Ricky, your district encompasses the 9th Judicial District, which is Sharkey, Issaquena, and Warren counties, correct?
That's correct. I've got those three counties.
You've been in office. You're about to wrap up your first full term in office. I'm sure it's been a learning experience, and you've accomplished quite a lot.
Well, thank you. It has been a learning experience. We've, of course, hit the ground running. We had a lot of cases that were pending when we took office, along with the new cases that were coming in, and we've been fairly successful with dealing with those cases since we've been in office.
Now, you've been able to bring on, under a grant, as I understand it, an additional assistant district attorney, that being Lane Campbell, the son of Frank Campbell, who once held this office himself.
And it's just one of those stories that I don't know that the community is aware of, but Frank Campbell was a district attorney here for about 10 years. And actually for about the last 5 years of Frank's life, he and I practiced together in private practice. He had actually agreed to come back to the DA's office with me when I was elected to serve as an ADA for a period of time. He just wanted to get back into the prosecution. Unfortunately, he passed away between the election and the time that we took office, which was very unfortunate. I was really looking forward to having Frank with me, and the experience that he had would have been immeasurable. But now to have his son here, it's just one of those things of how things work out. Now we've got Lane here with us on a federal grant that's administered by the Mississippi Department of Public Safety. It's a year-to-year grant, and we have him, I know, through April of this year, and hopefully the grant will be renewed again for another year. Of
course, you have two additional assistants, Ms. Carpenter and
Dewey Arthur. Both of those, I didn't know Dewey prior to the election. Dewey had come to me during the election, indicated that he was from here. His parents still live here out in Allen Place, and that he wanted to come back home. At that time, he was assistant district attorney over in Hinds County and had been for a number of years. I was looking forward to trying to get back into Vicksburg. And so when I was elected, I sat down with him and talked to him, and knew with the experience he had from the Hinds County DA's office that he would be a great asset, and he was. And Ms. Carpenter has been too. She, like me, came from the defense side, and I had seen her work. We worked together as defense attorneys for the 9th Judicial Drug Court, and I'd seen her work and was real proud to have her come in with us.
Of course, an additional part of your staff is your investigative staff. Janice Harrison stayed on after from the previous administration, so to speak. She brings a wide array of talent to the table.
There were two people here, Pam Rushing and Janice Harrison, that were with the prior administration. And being a defense attorney, of course, I had a lot of time to come in here and interact with the people who worked in the prior administration's office. And I saw that the type of work that they both did. Janice has been tremendous. Janice Harrison is one of the best investigators I think there are around. She's dedicated and knowledgeable, and has been a tremendous asset. But I knew that before I was elected, that she had those attributes. And so when I got elected, I asked her to stay on with me, and she's done that. We also have Chris Lockridge, who comes from the Warren County Sheriff's Department, was employed by the sheriff at the time of my election, and I got to know him during the election and some prior to that, and asked him to come with me when I was elected.
Of course, Ms. Rushing, if you've been in business for any length of time in this community, you're bound to have had dealings with Ms. Rushing. She's very aggressive in pursuing the check unit cases.
She is, and she has many hats that she wears. One of those is she administers the worthless check unit, which is a part of the office that helps merchants to recover funds that have been lost through bad checks, worthless checks, checks that are written on accounts that or on accounts that are closed, those types of things. But she is very aggressive in that and does a wonderful job in getting that money back for the merchant.
Now tell us about the other members of your staff. I know we're leaving a couple out, and we definitely don't want to do that.
No, we don't want to do that. I have also with me Brenda Terrio. Brenda Terrio is my Victims Assistance Coordinator. And what she does, she has probably the hardest job in the office. I tell that to every grand jury that comes, because I introduce all of my people to all the grand juries. She probably has the hardest job because she's the one who has to sit with the victims and be a shoulder for the victims to cry on, to be the strength for the victims when they're going through such difficult times, because there are some people that we deal with that are going through some very traumatic experiences, some violent crime victims things of that nature. And she is wonderful. She's got the heart as big as Mississippi, and can sit and work with those people and, like I say, be a shoulder for them to cry on. We also have Joe Goad. Since I have been in office, I've created a pretrial intervention program, which basically is we take generally young first-time nonviolent offenders and we put them into a program called pretrial intervention. That's actually monitored by my office. They have to come here to the courthouse, report to my office monthly. The program is about an 18-month program, and if they don't get into any more trouble, don't commit any more crimes, they do the things they're supposed to do, which includes public service, make them do some public service. They have to pay restitution back to victims if there are any. And if they get through that program, then we expunge the record. And so that keeps the first-time nonviolent offenders from being saddled with a felony conviction. It also helps move the justice system along a little bit. I know there's been a lot of talk about trying to get people through the jail quicker with the jail conversation that's going on about whether we need to build a new jail or not. And so that program helps to keep people moving through the system a little bit faster. We've got about 50 people in that program right now, and Joe administers that program. And so I think that's everybody in the office.
Yeah. Of course, 8 years ago, you ran for this office. You were unsuccessful, but a lot of people at that point found out who Ricky Smith was.
That's right.
I felt you laid the groundwork for what 4 years later was a very successful campaign, obviously, for you.
It was. It takes, sometimes it takes a while to get your name out. I was born and raised in this community, and I spent almost all of my life here. I worked for Waterways Experiment Station for a period of time, and they kept me away for a while. But I've spent most all of my life here, and you don't realize how many people you don't know until you start getting out in the community. And I think that's what that first race really was about, was me getting out and getting my name out, and what my platform would be and my goals would be if I were elected.
Of course, you've already qualified to run for re-election. Obviously, settled into the office, got things going in a nice even keel. And we're going to talk more about that tomorrow night on Film at 11.